Hey guys, Matt Sardo, Monkeys Fighting Robots, and I am so excited to share with you my thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, coming out in April from Marvel Comics. The creative team on this book is Collin Kelly Jackson Lanzing, amazing artist Kev Walker, Matt Hollingsworth is the colorist, and Cory Petit is the letterist. Okay, there are some crazy things going on in this book, and you're just kind of like jumping in on the story. Like I guess it's 1 year in the future from whenever. If you read the last Guardians of the Galaxy, the Annihilation one with Dormammu, everything was fine. Everything was fine in that universe, and now everything is wrong in this universe. Let's see how Marvel Comics describes Guardians of the Galaxy #1. 1 year ago, the Guardians of the Galaxy were destroyed. Their optimistic future is shattered by the betrayal of one of their own. Now, they ride the space lanes of a lawless corner of the galaxy, trying to outrun their tragedy. Can they rediscover their heroism and humanity on the bleakest frontier? Can they forgive the failures of their past? Or will they fade into the dark, eternal unforgiven? Whoa, we are just... Okay, now I'm feeling the Western vibe. The Western vibe is really good in this. Like it is a lot of fun. And Star-Lord riding in on his horse was, I don't know if it was a horse, but like riding on his horse-like alien thingy was pretty spectacular. My first impressions, I have no clue what's going on. And the jokes are a little clunky, but the artwork is amazing. I'm going to say this over and over again. Walker's art is spectacular in this. Also, side note, with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 coming out in May, it's hard not to read the dialogue and then add the voices and delivery of like Chris Pratt, Zoe, Bautista, Gillan. I heard all those voices in my head, and then I also like saw the delivery. And so that's some baggage that I bring to the table. With all of that said, I can't wait to read the second issue. Because, like, what the heck is Grootfall? Like, I need to know what Grootfall is. And also, like, where's Rocket? Where's Rocket in all this? The setup by Kelly Lansing is enough to hook me in for the first story arc. Grootfall is an intriguing concept, and Walker makes Grootfall look really impressive. Hence, artwork, really good. The Western setting works well for Guardians. They jump right into the action. So there's a huge sense of urgency that happens. And then, like, once you put the book down, you start asking questions like, what happened to Groot? Where is Rocket? Like, why is everybody down on themselves? Like, what is going on with the Guardians of the Galaxy? And I guess all those questions is a good thing because you're actually engaged with the story. The story hits and you're like, what happened? And so there you go. I mean, it's got to be well written if you got that. So I'm hoping that the writing team, Kelly Lansing, kind of pull back from the jokes or the kind of the delivery of stuff. Also, they kind of like a little over explain, like, oh, we're sad, things are bad, blah, blah. Like they show it and then they say it, and it let the comic book breathe. Like, that's what I would do. I would let the comic book breathe and let the reader decide for themselves how people are feeling without the character actually saying, this is how I'm feeling. But I mean, Chris Claremont did it really well in X-Men. So, I mean, it's a little nitpicky issue on over-explaining feelings or how characters are acting. Did I mention that Walker's art is amazing? And like Hollingsworth colors just freaking pop. There are major Mike Mignola and Walt Simonson vibes going on with this book, like that I felt. I mean, I like both of those artists. So like when I see an artist doing their thing, I'm like, oh, I can see some little bit of this and a little bit of that. Drax is definitely the Hellboy of the Guardians with his like horn jacket on. There's like a silhouette and there's like a big robot thingy. And you're like, oh shit, it's Hellboy fighting a giant monster. Oh no, it's Drax in the horn coat. Like, I was like, oh, it just got I get a little goosies when I talk about that one. That's always a good thing with a book when you get the goosebumps. Goosies are good. Yeah, Hollingsworth's color is like rich and bold, but you still have this Western vibe thing going on. The panel structure in this book is pure chaos. There's so much action going on, and like the panels are like tilted and like rumbling and jumbling and just like bouncing off the page. And so you have this action that's happening, and it's just chaos. And that's part of the Guardians of the Galaxy charm, is their chaos, but also like it creates like this sense of urgency as things are kind of like blowing up and things are all over the place. You're like, oh shit, what's going on? And you're like kind of like reading it and they're like bumping around and like going from there. So that was like a lot of fun. And then also like, because I've read it in other comic books where like, you hear like the doom is like repeated over and over. And you're like, oh no, it's the impending doom that's like coming in. So in my head, like as the pages were rattling and the panels were like, angled and bouncing and all stuff, in my back of my head, I was like, doom, doom, doom. And that's what was shaking the panels. So the panels themselves being like tilted and moved and like not traditional added to the action itself, but then also had like this subliminal feel that impending doom was coming and something big was coming that was rattling the comic book and making the panels kind of bounce around. And so the panel structure is just beautiful. I can't wait to like actually hold a book in my hand, and I'll probably do like a panel breakdown talking about this once I have it in my hand, because the colors are really good. The lettering's really good. Everything kind of just like works as far as a comic book visually. Like everything in that is like just pure action, build up, delivery. And you're like, oh shit. You breathe for a second. You're like, oh my God, I need the second issue. Cory's letters were given a tough task because there's lots of action and lots of yelling going on here. And then like you're also trying to deliver jokes too. The story was easy to follow and things were easy to read as the chaos was happening. But there is definitely like a really good example of quality lettering later on in the book. Star-Lord says, "Let's ride," followed by a whoosh and a thoom. And so the "Let's ride" is got the black outline. Then outside of that is like red. And so it's very intense and you can feel it almost move. And then you have like some crooked panels, and then you have the whoosh and the thoom, and like you could just feel the page move. And a lot of that had to do with how the action words and the lettering was set up that helped all three combined. So like you have the colors, you have the artwork, you have the lettering, and like there's like three panels at the bottom of the page. You're like, oh my God, this is just like moving as I'm reading it. And like that was pretty spectacular. Overall, Guardians of the Galaxy #1 is a must buy in my book. I need to know what happened to Groot and Rocket. And that's pretty much the only thing I need to know. And that's like enough hook for me to be like, shit, I need to add this to my poll. I need to add it to my poll now. And so now that I read it, I'm like, okay, this book doesn't come out till April. And I got to wait till May for the second issue. Oh, I'm going to be stressing out. Take care, guys.